What's up everybody, it's Max Digital here, and in today's video I'm going to compare the Apple iPhone X, which I have a picture of on the left, and on the right I have a picture of the Apple iPhone XR. Let's go ahead and compare these specs and see how these devices hold up. So the significance of the iPhone X is that it was the first $1,000 iPhone that removed the home button, and it was relying solely on Face ID, which gave it an all-screen display except for the notch on top. The next year, Apple launched the iPhone XR, so it was a almost a budget version of the iPhone X. It was very affordable. It was around $750. So it was just a cheaper budget option if you wanted Face ID but didn't want to spend $1,000. Both of these devices do not offer 5G. They are both 4G LTE devices. The iPhone X had a height of 5.6 inches, 2.8 inches in width, and 0.3 inches in thickness. The iPhone XR was a little bit bigger. It was 5.9 inches in height, 2.9 inches in width, and 0.33 inches in thickness. So the overall bigger device is the iPhone XR. The iPhone X weighed a little bit less at 6.14 ounces versus the 6.8 ounces on the iPhone XR. Both phones offer a glass front with a glass back, so they both had a premium build to it. Both of these devices offer nano SIM card capabilities, but the iPhone XR was one of the first Apple phones to offer an eSIM option in the phone, so you could have two different phone numbers or have two different data plans at the same time. Both of these phones offer IP67 dust and water resistance, so they're okay dunking them in water about 1 meter for 30 minutes. For the displays, the iPhone X is a little bit smaller. It's 5.8 inches versus the 6.1 inch display on the XR. They're both Super Retina displays. They both have a 625 nits of brightness. The resolution of the X is 1125 by 2436. The XR has the resolution of 828 by 1792. The PPI on the X is 458, which is more than the 326 PPI on the XR. So on paper, the iPhone X has a better, brighter, more colorful screen, sharper screen, but that's not to say that the iPhone XR is a bad screen. It is perfectly fine. Most people will be happy with it. Both of these phones are running the most up-to-date iOS version for software at iOS 14, although the X launched with iOS 11 and the XR launched with iOS 12. The chipset, the iPhone X is rocking A11 Bionic, while the XR is rocking the A12 Bionic. Both of these chipsets are pretty neck and neck, and they will run every app that's in the Apple App Store no problem. You won't see any real difference in performance. For the storage, both of these offer a base storage of 64 gigs of internal storage. Obviously, there's no expandable storage, but I think 64 gigs is the bare minimum people should have on an iPhone nowadays. They both offer 3 gigs of RAM, which make them very, very compatible. iOS uses RAM very efficiently, so there should be no problem having tons of apps open and getting back to them very quickly. You could update the storage capacity up to 256 gigs, but it will obviously cost you more. Now, on the price for these devices, you could find them both around the same price used, like on Swappa or something here in the US, for around the $300 range. So you can get these phones at a very low price point. For the cameras, the iPhone X has a dual camera setup. It has a 12 megapixel main camera and a 12 megapixel telephoto lens. The iPhone XR has one single 12 megapixel camera. And both of these phones shoot in 4K video. So obviously The iPhone 10 has that extra camera, which has an extra mode on it. It takes really good pictures and video. The iPhone XR also takes very good pictures and videos. Obviously, it just does not have the telephoto lens, but you'll be happy with both of these devices. Both of these phones also have a 7 megapixel selfie camera, and they both shoot at 1080p. You'll be satisfied with both of these selfie cameras. None of these devices offer a headphone jack. You need a dongle to set that up. And they both have stereo speakers. They're both running Bluetooth 5.0, and that's perfectly fine if you want to pair your phone to a smartwatch, a wearable, and an Apple Watch, your wireless headphones, your AirPods, your speakers, and a number of other devices, so there's no problem there. Also, both phones offer NFC, and that basically means that it's used exclusively usually for Apple Pay. They both offer Lightning port, same port used on pretty much all the other iOS devices. To unlock these devices, they both feature Face ID, which is perfectly fine and fast way to open up your device. Now for the battery department, it's a little bit of difference. The iPhone 10 has a 2716 milliamp battery. The iPhone XR has a bigger one at close to 3000. It has 2942 milliamp battery. So on the battery front, the iPhone XR has really good battery life. The iPhone 10, it's okay. It's not as good as the XR though, I have to say. And then if you're picking up a used model, you want to be careful of the battery health. You may want to make sure that you're at least in the 85% range. Ideally, you want to be in the 90s, especially with the iPhone 10 since it has a lower milliamp battery. If you do manage to need to charge the battery, both of these phones have fast charging at 15 watts. So if you have the proper adapter, the proper charging brick, you can get 50% charge in 30 minutes. And they both offer wireless charging. So comparing both devices, my takeaway is that a lot of people will be happy with either of these devices, but if you care about that extra camera, a little bit higher quality screen, and maybe a more smaller form factor, the iPhone 10 will be very good phone to have. But if you value battery life, definitely get the XR. It's just a big battery, especially if you get these phones used. That battery in the XR will be hard to drain. The iPhone XR also has a bigger screen overall, so you get more screen real estate. And other than that, both of these phones are very neck and neck, and the iPhone XR has that newer Apple chipset. So for the most part, both of these will last a long time, at least 5 years of updates between when it first launched. So there's not much difference besides that. They're both quality devices, but if I had to pick, I would probably pick the XR just because of the battery life. Because of the screen quality, to me, honestly, is very close. You wouldn't notice the screen quality difference unless you held them side by side. But on that note, people, that has been my comparison of the iPhone 10 and the iPhone XR. Thanks for watching. It's Max Digital here. Peace.